Hi, I'm Dr. Charisse, and joining me today is Stephanie Van Dyne. She produces Empowered for Destiny. Well, today we're excited about what we're going to see cooked and what we're going to actually cook today. We got a spread, if you can just see behind us. These are some of the things we're going to cook today. I just want to tell you what they are, even before we get to our recipe for success. We will be making a sweet potato souffle, a Spinach Madeleine, which is amazing. It's got like a little queso flavor to it, a chorizo and sun-dried tomato rice with spinach, apple muffins, and hot apple cider. And we've already got a roasted turkey back there and some homemade cornbread. However you want to make that, you can. But that's our spread for today and recipes for success. But getting to the word and our recipe for success today, you know, we're at Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving here in Michigan is absolutely beautiful. It's not like a lot of other places where everything is dead around this time of the year. We have the beautiful colors, beautiful scenery, and the seasons are changing over. Probably been to the cider mill. Oh, yeah, picking apples at the apple orchard, pumpkin patches and things like that. And so a lot of what we've cooked today reflects some of the local things that are grown, but also just the time of year. You know, no matter where you are in your life today, you have a reason and a right to be thankful for something. And so I thought about this scripture, Jeremiah 30:19. I want to share it with you. And then we're just going to talk about what we're thankful for, things that God has done, things that He is going to do, and things that He's actually talked to us about, those promises He's promised us. We're going to be thankful, we're going to show thankfulness, and then we're going to get in the kitchen and cook. But Jeremiah 30:19 says it this way. It says, I'll turn things around for Jacob. This is the Message Bible. I'll compassionately come in and rebuild homes. The town will be rebuilt on its own foundations. The mansions will be splendid again. Thanksgivings will pour out of the windows. Laughter will spill through the doors. Things will get better and better. Depression days are over. They'll thrive and they'll flourish. The days of contempt will be over. They'll look forward to having children again, to being a community in which I take pride. I'll punish anyone who hurts them, and their prince will come from their own ranks. One of their own people shall be their leader, and their ruler will come from their own ranks. I'll grant him free and easy access to me. I think it's a beautiful scripture because it's talking about Jacob, and we all know the story of Jacob and the things that he's done. But God is saying, I'm going to bring restoration back to Jacob, and I'm going to cause him to be at such a place that he's going to want to thank me. He's going to want to praise me for who I am and what I've done. I know I have a lot of things to be thankful for. This year will be 20 years of marriage for Bishop and I, and I'm very thankful and glad about that. We have 4 wonderful children that are healthy and love God and filled with the Spirit of God, and I'm thankful to have a church like Detroit World Outreach where the people of God love one another, they're committed to the things of God, and they want nothing to do with anything but God. And so what are some things that you're thankful for today, Stephanie?
Well, I'm just so grateful for everything that God's doing in our lives. I just got married over 6 months ago, which has just been an absolute blessing. I love my husband, and we met through DWO, and we're just hooking up with the church where God is, and God just moves in every aspect. And I'm thankful for DWO as well because it's a church where God can move freely, and the anointing's there, and just been able to be anointed and move farther and farther in what God's called me to do.
Praise God. Well, I know you're thankful for the things that God has done in your life, so you should take time to reflect. Now, the kitchen is a great place to reflect on the things that God has done, and it's a great place to reflect on just being thankful about, what He's going to do even. And so as we cook today, I'm going to be talking to you, and you might be writing notes, or you might, TiVo this, or, DVR it, I guess, or whatever, and go back and watch it. But I just want to let you know that you can watch this segment again, and you can watch it on dwo.org, or you can actually watch it, you can watch the tape on dwo.org, but you can also see the different pictures that we'll be tweeting. We actually have a Twitter address now, and it's a capital D, Dr. C _ capital RFS. So we're going to make that available to you, and there's some more Twitter addresses down there on the bottom of your screen that we want you to take advantage of as well. But I want you to get ready, and I want you to get ready with your pen and your paper, a hearty appetite, and get ready to cook, and I'll see you in the kitchen. Hi, I'm Dr. Charisse, and thank you for joining me today on Recipes for Success. And this section of our Recipes for Success, we're going to make some amazing recipes, some Thanksgiving recipes. And this day, we're going to start out with some roast turkey. We actually have that cooking in the oven, just a basic roast turkey. We're going to have homemade cornbread, sweet potato souffle with a nice brown sugar and pecan and butter topping on it. We're going to make a spinach Madeleine dish that's got all kinds of cheeses in the spinach. And then we're going to have a sun-dried tomato and chorizo rice with a little bit of spinach mixed in. It's so good. And along with that, for dessert, we'll have a cider and some apple muffins. I want you to go ahead and get your pen and your paper and meet me in the kitchen in just a moment. Our roast turkey is in the oven, and we just coated it with a little bit of olive oil. Some people like to coat it with butter, the way my mom taught me growing up. We use pure butter, not margarine, butter, and we coated the whole turkey on both sides, all the way around, all the legs and everything, not missing a spot. But I like to use olive oil now. Use olive oil on it, a little bit of salt and pepper or lemon pepper, a little poultry seasoning if you like poultry seasoning, and I like lots of garlic, so I just smear garlic all over it and on the inside of the cavity. We bake it for about, depending on the size of the bird, our bird is about 12 to 13 pounds, so about 3 hours at 325 degrees, and we'll look at that in just a moment. But right now what we want to make is the sweet potato souffle. You can't have a Thanksgiving without sweet potatoes, and so this is one way we're going to do it. Sometimes people will start with the base souffle and they'll do a topping that's with marshmallows, and they'll do a topping maybe with cherries, or a topping with cranberries. But today's topping we're going to do is going to have again, butter, pecans, and brown sugar. So let's just start out by making the souffle. These potatoes were baked overnight. So last night I baked these potatoes. We took the skin off of them. They're a little bit starchy, so I'm going to add a little bit more egg than I normally would. Along with that, I'm going to add a little bit more butter than I normally would, just so that they can kind of moisten up a little bit, okay? So first I took all the skins off of about 7 to 8 sweet potatoes, took them off, put them in the bowl, and just mixed them up a little bit. Now I'm going to go ahead and add some white sugar, and you're going to add the white sugar just to taste, all right? So just add some in there, and you can always add more later. I'm going to add brown sugar, 1 cup of brown sugar, okay? So I'm going to add the 1 cup of brown sugar. See if we can get that out of there. And want to make sure the brown sugar is not hard and crunchy. You want to make sure that it's moist, or else you'll have little tiny beads of brown sugar in your sweet potatoes. There's nothing worse than that. All right, then we're going to have, to that, we're going to add some vanilla. Now, depending on the vanilla and the strength of your vanilla, you can add 1 to 2 teaspoons, or you may have to go as high as tablespoons to get the flavor that you are looking for. I like to also add fresh squeezed lemon juice and orange juice to it as well. Now again, I'm giving you amounts, a teaspoon or a tablespoon, but you add what you need to make it taste the way you want it to be, okay? Don't have to add anything one by one. You can add everything all at the same time like I'm doing. This is 2 sticks of melted butter. And again, don't cook with margarine. Margarine is plastic. So we don't cook with plastic, we cook with butter. All right? We're gonna add some nutmeg. This is about 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg, and if you like more, you can add more. I may actually add more once I taste it. And then we're gonna add some cinnamon, and that's about 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, okay? And then finally, we're gonna add our eggs. This is 2 eggs that have been cracked. These are brown eggs. We use brown organic eggs. Actually, we use organic ingredients, okay? Let's mix all of this together. Whew, got a little wild there. We're gonna mix all that up together until it's mixed pretty well. Once it gets all incorporated in, you can whip it at a higher rate, and we'll do that. All right, now everything is all mixed in. Again, we use sweet potatoes. I actually prefer yams, and I prefer the jewel yams, the organic jewel yams, because it gives it a deeper, richer, darker orange color, and they're more moist than a sweet potato, which is, to me, a little bit starchier, okay? So once it's all mixed in, you need to taste it, and you need to see if there's enough sugar in there. And you need to be careful because there are raw eggs in there. Okay, I like more sugar, so I'm gonna add more sugar to it. Once we get more sugar added in, I'm going to mix it one more time. Okay, once you mix everything in like this, you can go ahead and We'll go ahead and pull it out. I'm gonna try to taste it one more time. I'm gonna add some more sugar. So mix it in. I'm gonna add some more sugar. When I add that sugar, get it to the way I want it to taste. Then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put it in a greased dish like this. Once I put it in a greased dish, I'm gonna put it in the oven for about 350 degrees until it's all the way cooked through, and then we'll make our topping. But because I want everything to kind of cook at one time, we have a lot of dishes to make. You can literally cook all of this, with the exception of the turkey, in 1 hour. I'll show you how to do that. We're gonna put this in the pan. We're gonna put something over it. We're not gonna put it in the oven yet until we get some other things made, and we'll be back in just a minute to show you how that's done. Okay, now that we've whipped everything up and mixed everything in, you're gonna go ahead and remove this, remove your whisk, just kind of beat everything off the side. And we're gonna go ahead and add it to your glass dish or whatever dish you're gonna put it in, all right? I'll just set that there for now. And we're not gonna put it in the oven yet because we're gonna make some other things and we want everything to kind of cook at one time. One of the worst things you can do is start a Thanksgiving dinner or start any dinner and make one dish at a time. You'll be cooking for like 5 hours. And I think that's one of the problems that people have when they think about cooking in the kitchen, that it has to take a long, long time. But you can literally cook things simultaneously and kind of time whenever each thing comes out. It's like multitasking in the kitchen. So we're gonna go ahead and add this. We're not gonna put it in the oven just yet, okay? Go ahead and add these sweet potatoes. Now you can put a wire whisk on this so that you beat out every single little tiny piece of sweet potato, or you can leave just some little tiny nuggets in there. Just depends on how you like it. Sometimes I want it totally smooth and sometimes I want the little tiny pieces in there. If you can see the little tiny pieces of sweet potato in there. Okay, now these again, for some reason are a little light. I think they're a little starchy, but they're a little light. You can use yams. You don't have to use sweet potatoes in that, okay? I like to get every last drop, all right? So that is ready. That's gonna set to the side in the refrigerator until we're ready to go ahead and cook it with some other things, okay? All right, so we're gonna set this to the side and we're gonna start our next dish, which is a wonderful dish, an exciting dish. And if you like sausage, you'll like this dish, okay? So again, I want you to get ready, take notes, and you're getting ready to make something you probably never made before, but I think that your family will really, really like it. So I'll see you in just a minute. All right, so we just put our sweet potato souffle on hold, and now we're getting ready to make our chorizo and sun-dried tomato spinach with rice. So join me here at the stove. Just put a little bit of olive oil in the pan, and we're going to put our chorizo in there, which is like a Spanish sausage. We took the casings off of it, okay? We're going to go ahead and put that in, okay? We're going to put that in, and we're going to cook it until it's totally done. Going to go ahead and kind of chop it up. If you like spicy things, got a little bit of spice to it. There's so many different types of chorizo. I've even seen like a turkey chorizo before, but you're just gonna kind of mix it up, mix it in, cook it until it's brown around the edges. We're gonna cook it for about 5 minutes, and then we're gonna go ahead and add some onions, all right? So this is about 3 pounds, or actually it's 2 pounds. I'm doubling the recipe today, but you don't have to double the recipe. The recipe that you'll probably see on your screen calls for 1 pound of chorizo, all right? So you're gonna go ahead and cook it. I love the color that it has because of the spices that are on the inside of it. So go ahead and cook that. I've got it kind of on high, cooking that down. Almost kind of getting there. Just keep stirring it constantly so it doesn't burn, okay? Can you see that in there? All those awesome spices that are in there. The smell is wonderful. Just keep stirring it down. We're gonna let that cook a little bit. Gonna cook that on high. Then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna add some onions. Now, this is about a cup of onions. Well, this is actually 2 cups, but you're gonna add a cup if you're gonna do 1 recipe's worth, all right? So I'm adding a cup of onions in here. And I'm gonna keep my fire up pretty high. And I'm gonna go ahead and mix this all in. It looks like a taco on there, like taco meat or something, huh? Smells amazing. So go ahead and just cook it down. All right? Okay, we're gonna wait for that to cook down before we add the other ingredients. So just keep it up a little bit higher. Won't hurt at all. While we're doing that, I'll talk to you about the sun-dried tomatoes. Now, these sun-dried tomatoes are sun-dried tomatoes that we're going to use for this dish, and we kind of pulverized them in our blender just a little bit to make sure they were finely chopped. We're not using sun-dried tomatoes that are in oil. We're going to use the sun-dried tomatoes that are actually dry, and you can see that they're kind of dry, kind of powdery-like. You want to chop them as small as possible because you don't want to have big chunks of tomato, sun-dried tomato in your mouth with the rice. So just kind of pulverize them just a little bit, or chop them up really finely, however you want to do that, in your mixer or by hand. This is about a cup and a half, all right? And that's because we're doubling the recipe, but you're gonna put 3/4 of a cup of these in, all right? We're also using brown rice, but you can use white rice in this as well. Look at our meat. Our meat is almost there. We're just gonna continue to mix it in. We want the onions to kind of get translucent. They don't have to fully cook, but we need them to get translucent so we'll know how to proceed there with all the rest of the ingredients. It's a relatively simple dish because you're going to cook the chorizo, you're going to add the onions. After you add the onions and you continue to mix them in, you got to constantly stir. Then we're going to add everything else all at one time. So remember, the only thing we kind of separate is the chorizo and the onions, and then we'll add everything all at once. We're almost there. We're not going to drain. We're going to leave all the spices and everything in there. Let's look at this. Look at that. I believe it's already done. Look at how the chorizo sausage, it kind of separates. See that? It makes its own little, looks like really fine meat. All right. You can kind of get an idea of what that looks like there with the onions. They're kind of starting to get a little bit translucent. That's exactly how we want it to look, okay? All right, now we're gonna add our garlic. That is a lot of garlic. Let me tell you now, remember, I'm doubling the recipe, so you may not need to add that much, but that is about, how much garlic did I add here? That's 3 tablespoons. Well, for this recipe, that's 6 tablespoons of garlic. And the other thing I want to tell you while I'm making this is never be afraid to think that you have to memorize the recipe. You don't have to. It's okay to have it on a sheet of paper or on a card and to take a look at it. Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing unprofessional about it at all. I've been cooking for 34 years and I still sometimes will have the recipe in front of me. So there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't make you a novice and it doesn't make you any less of a cook, okay? So you've got your garlic in there. Now we're gonna add our sun-dried tomatoes. Okay. We're gonna add our oregano. We're gonna add our spiced or smoked paprika. And then we're gonna add our rice, our brown rice. Okay. Let's get all this mixed in. That looks so good. We wanna mix it all in. Okay. Get it all mixed in. All right. We're gonna let it kind of brown just a tiny bit. And it's kind of hard to see whether it's brown or not, but we're gonna let it cook just a little bit. And then we're gonna add our chicken stock. We're gonna let this rice cook for about 1 to 2 minutes, okay? So you can kind of start to smell a little smoky flavor. And again, I'm using brown rice, but you can use white rice. Brown rice, you know, it's got a little bit better for you. Gonna mix all that in. It looks so good. It kind of almost reminds me of like something similar to like a dirty rice, like a New Orleans dirty rice, but made with chorizo. Very similar. We're gonna add the stock now. We're gonna add the stock, and once we add the chicken stock, we're gonna cook for about 20 minutes. Okay? We're gonna cook for about 20 minutes, and we're gonna cook it until the rice is totally done. When the rice is totally done, then we're gonna add our nice baby spinach at the last minute. We don't want to add it now. We're going to wait until the mixture is totally and completely finished. Okay, so let's go ahead and add all of your stock. Now for your recipe on your screen, you'll probably see 4 cups of low sodium chicken broth, and I'm doubling here, so I've got much more than that. Okay, once you add that in, go ahead and mix that in. Okay. Mix it all in. Now remember, brown rice takes a little longer sometimes to cook than white rice, so you may need to add more liquid. If you're gonna add more liquid, I would go ahead and add more chicken stock and not water, so you'll keep the flavors. You may have to adjust the seasonings as well because of that, all right? So we're gonna let this cook. I'm gonna turn the stove down to about medium to medium low. I'm gonna put the top on it, and we're gonna let it cook for about 20 minutes, and we'll come back to the kitchen in just a minute. By the way, if you haven't put in your sweet potato souffle, go ahead and put it in now. You may need to add more liquid because the rice is still a little bit stiff. So I added a little bit more liquid. I'm gonna stir it in a little bit more, but you can see how it's thickening up now. I add a little bit more liquid so that the rice can fully plump out and the mixture will not be dry. So as you can see, there's not a lot of liquid in there. The rice still has room to expand, and we're gonna let it do that. But if need be, add more liquid until it gets the consistency that you want it to be. All right, well, your sweet potatoes are in the oven, and now let's take a look at the chorizo and rice. Starting to cook down a little bit. You can kind of see it almost looks like a little soup. All right, the rice has got a little ways to go, but the flavor is great. With brown rice, the package directions are kind of like, I don't know, they say the same thing as white rice. And I have found that sometimes I have to triple the water, or at least another half as much water as what was required for white rice in order for the brown rice to not be gummy and chewy. All right, so even though it called for the amount of chicken stock that you put in there, always get extra just in case you may need to add more liquid to the mixture to make the rice fluffy like you'd like it, okay? So this has a while to go. Don't worry about the 20 minutes. If it's not ready in 20 minutes, cook it until it's ready, okay? So let's put the top on that. We're gonna continue to cook that on medium low to low. And we're gonna go ahead and start our next dish, which is our Spinach Madeleine. Our Spinach Madeleine, I love spinach, and our Spinach Madeleine is gonna be a great dish. It does have pepper jack cheese in it, so it has a little bit of spice, okay? So I put a little tiny bit of olive oil in the pan. You don't have to do olive oil. You can do it in a non-stick pan with no oil at all, but go ahead and turn your oven on, okay? And we're gonna go ahead and add our spinach to this, okay? And you can use frozen spinach if you like. If you use frozen spinach, please squeeze all the liquid out of it. If you use fresh, it's better that you use fresh and you rinse it off. Go ahead, and it's gonna cook down relatively quickly, okay? So go ahead and turn your oven up. And again, we use organic spinach. It has a much greater flavor. I'm gonna put it in that pan here, and we're gonna just kind of keep tossing it till it cooks down. I have it on high, okay? But what we're gonna do while we're waiting for that to cook down is we're gonna cook this down just until it wilts. We're gonna remove it from this pan into a bowl. Once we put it in the bowl, we're gonna take the liquid that's left over, any liquid that's left over from cooking it, and we're gonna go ahead and put it in a separate dish. So we're gonna separate the liquid from the spinach, okay? All right, so we're gonna add some salt while we're waiting for this to wilt, and it's salt to taste, so I'm not gonna add too much. Just kind of stir it up a little bit. It's gonna cook pretty quickly, and that salt's gonna help it to wilt, okay? But while it's cooking down, let me tell you the other ingredients that you need. You are going to need the 1 pound of baby spinach. You're gonna need salt and pepper to taste. You're gonna need 4 tablespoons of butter, not margarine. You're gonna need 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. You're gonna need 2 tablespoons of onion and 1 tablespoon of garlic, either granulated garlic or actual whole garlic that's been minced. You will need cayenne pepper to taste, depending on how spicy you like it. 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce, and you'll need a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil, all right? I'm gonna turn this up a little higher so we can get it cooked down a little bit quicker. We're almost there. It's cooking down, and we just wanna keep cooking it till it's wilted, and it's almost half its size. We're gonna cook it down till it's even lesser than this. Okay, we're almost there. You see how it's reduced quite a bit. Okay. I think that that is done, so I'm going to turn the stove off, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to begin to drain it. Okay, you just need a bowl nearby, and I'm going to remove the spinach from the pot, drain it in a whole different pot. Almost there. Now hold it at an angle if you need to. Now don't throw that juice away. Remember, we're going to use that in just a minute. Okay. All right. Now this juice that's left over, we're going to go ahead and pour it in this other dish. Okay. Now, alrighty. Now we're going to mix together what is our inside, or our Madeleine mixture, I guess you'd say. So what we're going to go ahead and do is turn the oven back on. We're going to add the butter. Okay. After we add the butter, we're going to go ahead and add the flour. But let's wait for the butter to cook down just a little bit more than that. I'm going to go rinse the spoon off. I'll be right back. All right. Okay, we got the butter. We're going to cook it all down. Now you could wipe the pot out, of course, and in wiping the pot out, you get all the little pieces out, all the little pieces of spinach. All right. But go ahead. I'm going to add the flour in. I'm going to kind of mix the flour and the butter. It's like a little roux that we're making. We don't want it to burn. We just want it to kind of mix all together. And again, you could have wiped this pan down with a little paper towel if you want to get the little pieces out. Alrighty, I'm going to turn that down just a little bit. We're going to go ahead and add the onions and the garlic. And we're going to cook those down a little bit in the midst of that roux. Okay, now we're going to add the spinach juice that we just used. Okay, and we're going to add the cream. Let's mix all this spinach juice in really well. See how it's getting thick there? Kind of thickening up. I'm going to add that cream softly to this mixture. It already looks good. Cream is wonderful. See that? It's thickening up. This is heavy cream, not half and half. We want heavy cream. Okay. After we add that in, I believe that we can begin to add all of our other ingredients in. So we'll add our Worcestershire sauce. You can add more. That's just a teaspoon, but you can add more. A little bit of pepper to taste. Okay. A little bit of cayenne pepper. Some olive oil. And now we're going to add the cheese. All right, let's add this pepper jack cheese that has been so very nicely chopped, very finely chopped. And actually, you don't have to use pepper jack. Whatever kind of cheese you like, you can use, okay? So we're going to turn this down pretty low. You see it starting to melt? This looks so amazing. And when this gets all melted in, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to add the spinach to it. I should have doubled this recipe. This is great. Okay, I'm going to turn that down to like low. And let's take a look at our chorizo rice. We're getting there. It's looking awesome. Looking awesome. But the rice is still pretty firm. So it may have been 20 minutes, but we're going to continue to let it cook when it gets ready. And it will let us know when it is ready. Okay? So let's be patient with that. We'll continue to stir this cheese in. All the lumps need to be gone. You still see the little squares there. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Do you see that? Can y'all see that over there? Can y'all see this cheese? Look on that. I want to taste it now. I bet it's amazing. I need a spoon. We're almost there. Gotta let all the little pieces. Look at that cheese, Walter. Walter's our awesome camera person. Look at that cheese. I know you want to taste that taste like. Go ahead. You said you handed it to me. Tell me what that tastes like. Good. All right. I'll take your word for it because I haven't tried it yet. All right. I believe we're all mixed in. We're going to add the spinach that we took. We're going to add that. I don't want to lose the cheese. I'm trying to, scoop that out there. Look at, oh my goodness. Look at that cheese mixed with that spinach. We need to make this all over again. So we have plenty. I think this is like a cheesy spinach. This could be like a spinach and cheese dip. I gotta taste that. Let me get a spoon. A spoon too. Let me taste that. I think I'm so excited. It almost has a queso flavor to it. It has a little queso. It needs a little salt though. Okay, we're gonna add some salt to it. And this is great for a rainy day. All right, we're gonna let this just stay warm. All right, so we are ready with this. We are waiting on this, and we know that the sweet potato souffle is on the way. So we will see you in just a little while to put it all together. See you in a few minutes. Well, we have everything cooking, and we took the sweet potatoes out. They probably cooked for 15, 20 minutes. And now we're gonna make the topping for the sweet potatoes, okay? So you're gonna take 2 sticks of butter. I'm doubling the recipe from probably what you see on the screen. 2 sticks of butter. You're gonna pour it into a dish. We want all that good butter out of there. All right? We're gonna go ahead and add brown sugar, and I believe that this is, because I'm doubling, it's 2 cups of brown sugar as opposed to 1 cup of brown sugar. It's a little crunchy in there, so just kind of mix the sugar and mix the butter up really well. Mix it till it's really melted in there. Once you get it all mixed in, we're gonna add the flour, and we're gonna do 1/3 of a cup of flour, but because we're doubling, we're gonna do 2/3 of a cup of flour. Now let me tell you, I have made this before and it is absolutely excellent. It gives a little bit of a different spin on the sweet potatoes than what maybe you usually have with the marshmallows or plain, okay? And then you're gonna add the freshly chopped pecans. If you like walnuts, you can add walnuts. If you like almonds, you can add almonds. If you like cherries, if you like cranberries, whatever you like, you can add it in. This is gonna make a nice topping. And if you could smell the smell that's just from the sweet potatoes alone, it's amazing. But look at that. Absolutely wonderful. I'm gonna put that on top. See, you have to double it because if I don't double the recipe, there won't be quite enough to go all the way across the top. All right, now I'm gonna just spread this all across the top. And this is gonna melt in and it's gonna cook in. It's gonna make a nice little coating of brown sugar, almost like a glaze across the top. Just kind of ice it. Okay, this is like dessert. All right, so we're gonna put this back into the oven for about 25 minutes, okay? Let's do that now. All right, and now we're gonna check our rice. Then after we check our rice, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna make something that's wonderful and it's great for the fall season. And that is, we're gonna make a cider, but it's not just an average cider. A lot of times you go and you have cider and it's just like apple juice poured into a pan and warmed up. You know, I've gone to places and I'm like, can I have a hot cup of cider? And it literally is apple juice hot. So we're gonna do something a little bit different, something that my mom taught us, and you probably heard of it before. It's called Wassail, and it's made a lot of different ways, but I'll show you how I'm gonna make it if you'll meet me at the stove in just a minute. Well, We're going to go back to the stove now, and we are going to check on the rice. It's still cooking. Sometimes it takes a while, and then we're going to go ahead and start our wassail or our hot apple cider, okay? So let's take a look. We don't want to fog up those lenses. And we are getting there. As you can see, it's a lot thicker than it was just a little bit a while ago, but it's got beautiful rich flavor, and you see that rice is plumping up a little bit more there. Really wonderful. If you're worried about whether it's really, really spicy, it's not hot spicy, but it's spicy as in it has really good flavor, okay? All right, we're going to go ahead, and this is a recipe, and you can vary it however you want to vary it, that my mom used to make for us, and we loved it. And actually, the older it gets, the better it tastes. So you make it today, it'll taste good. Tomorrow, it'll taste great. The next day, it'll taste even better. You want to go ahead, I'm going to add in some apple cider. And I don't want apple juice. We want apple cider. We want as much of the whole apple as possible. Apple juice is really kind of like water, okay? Water and sugar. We want to add in all of that. Look at that. All that apple cider. And then we're going to go ahead and add in some whole cranberry juice, okay? And you can add as much as you want. There really aren't measurements to this because it's really as you like it, as the flavor. I had about a half a bottle of cranberry juice. Then we're going to add some nice orange slices and some cinnamon sticks. So to this 1 gallon and then another, let's say 16 ounces of cranberry juice, and pure cranberry juice, not cran apple, but pure cranberry. We're going to add cinnamon sticks to that. And I'm adding about, that was 3, that's about 6 of them. And I'm going to go ahead and add all of these oranges. You want to make sure you wash the oranges really, really well. If you can use organic because the rinds are going to be in there, and you don't want herbicides and pesticides and stuff floating around in your wassail. You don't want to drink toxic drink. Okay, so add all of these in. Okay, and then we're going to add some sugar. And I said some, but you're going to add quite a bit. You can use raw sugar. You don't have to use white sugar. So we're going to add some sugar. I'm going to stir it up. And then when it gets really hot and starts boiling, we're going to add some black tea bags. Okay. Don't ask me why. I don't know why. It just tastes really good. So we're going to add these black tea bags to the mixture. Okay. When it gets really hot and starts boiling, and we're going to steep it just like you do tea. Then we'll squeeze them out. We'll take them out of the mix. Okay. I know we're going to need to add a little bit more sugar right now. And we're going to go ahead and just let that cook. All right. All right now. Okay, we're going to let that cook and let it boil down. And we'll let it boil for some time, and then we'll take a look at it and adjust the sweetness and adjust the seasonings. We want to put a little bit more cinnamon in there, or just a little powdered cinnamon, just a little bit. We can do that as well. So we'll take a look at this and check it out in just a minute. Meanwhile, we'll go ahead and put a top on it, and we'll check our sweet potatoes. You can garnish with a little bit of fresh. Look how they sink into that butter and that brown sugar. Just add a few more pecans out there on the center. There's a little fresh little garnish there. Yum, 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 yum. And we're going to put this to the side until the rest of dinner is ready. Well, we're back, and we've started the apple cider. It's all getting ready to be made. We've finished the sweet potato souffle, and we put that wonderful topping with the brown sugar and the butter and the pecans. We're waiting for the chorizo and the brown rice with the spinach that we're going to add at the last minute. But right now, we're going to make dessert, and dessert is going to be our nice, very simple spiced apple muffins. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we're going to add sugar. And that sugar is about 2 cups of sugar, and we're going to kind of mix that in a little bit. We're going to go ahead and add all of our dry ingredients. So let's go ahead and add our 3 cups of flour. All right. And I used unbleached flour for that. Mix the sugar and the flour all in. We're going to add a little bit of the salt. It's about a half of a teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of soda. Okay. After we add that, we're going to add our cinnamon, which is about 2.5 teaspoons of cinnamon. Make sure your cinnamon is potent. Take the time to smell it and see if it still has a nice strong flavor. Sometimes cinnamon can get kind of a washed out or bland smell after a while if you're not using it very much. Then we're going to go ahead and add our nutmeg, a teaspoon of nutmeg, and you can always adjust the spices as you like them. Taste the mix once you get it all mixed in. All right. I'm going to go ahead at this time and I am going to add 3 eggs. And I'm going to add 1 cup of oil. And I'm going to add vanilla. Vanilla. And this vanilla is about 2 teaspoons. If the vanilla is a little bit weak, kind of like the cinnamon, go ahead and add a little bit more. This is a recipe that I made when I was a little girl, and my grandmother taught me how to make it. Actually, she gave me the recipe for it. I love apples and anything apple, and so this is a great recipe. Okay, I'm gonna keep mixing. You can add pecans in it, and we do have some pecans here, or you can go straight to the apples. Okay, now we want to add some pecans. You can add about a cup if you like. I'm going to start out with about a half of a cup. And I like lots of apples. It depends on how many apples you like, but we're going to go ahead and add about 3 cups of apples cut up. Now the consistency of this is going to be quite doughy, and it's going to seem a little strange because it's going to be kind of doughy, but the moisture from the apples is going to compensate for all this doughiness. Okay, so go ahead and mix all that in. These are real apple muffins. Okay. Again, you can add the additional pecans if you want, but maybe we'll save some of those and put on the outside. Okay. We're going to take some greased muffin tins and go ahead and just begin to add them to your muffin tin. I'm going to get a spoon here. I'm going to fill these up, and when I fill them up, I'm going to put them in the oven at about 325 degrees for about 1 hour. Okay, once you've got all of your mixture in the muffin tins, now you're just going to put, if you want to, just a little bit of pecan garnish on each one. I'm going to do some on some and none on others. Then we're going to put them in the oven for about an hour or until a toothpick comes out clean when you put it in the center. We're going to put it on 325 degrees, and then they should be ready. These are great. They're not too sweet of a muffin, but they'll taste really good with some good sweet cider. Well, we're ready to wrap up the whole Thanksgiving meal, and we need to complete the chorizo with the brown rice and spinach. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add the spinach in. This brown rice and chorizo mix has been cooling for about 10 minutes, and we got a raw spinach that we're going to go ahead and add in. Okay, probably add half of it in at first, and let's mix that in. The oven is, or actually the stove is totally off right now. So we're not going to have to worry about that cooking any more than what it will already cook just from the heated chorizo with sun-dried tomatoes and brown rice. Okay. If you want to add the remaining spinach, you can, or you can just leave it like it is. I think we'll leave it like it is because we're going to have Spinach Madeleine, okay? We're going to go ahead and put that in a beautiful dish, and we'll see you in just a minute with the entire Thanksgiving dinner. Well, I've enjoyed being with you today. Thank you for joining me on Recipes for Success. And as always, we wish you blessings of peace, power, purpose, and prosperity. Be blessed.